As if the Sears here at Whitney Field wasn't enough of a gut punch, Macy's is closing. And maybe we can see the fixtures for sale sign that's on the door. They're up to 40% off at this point in time. You know the drill, we're going to walk through, although we'll start at the mall entrance and go from there. Here we are entering the Macy's. In the extreme far left and right are service corridors that separate the Macy's building, which is 2 stories, from the shopping mall itself, which is single story. Now, if there's any empty spots, which are very rare, this place outside of the signage doesn't really look all that much different than it always did. So anyway, there's a gap between the Macy's and the mall because it's built on swampland, and they thought that the 2-story Macy's would settle faster than the mall, and if there were any structural issues, it wouldn't take the mall with it. Well, after all these years, it survived, and it's all still pretty straight and level. So much for that. Anyway, it's a very difficult store to record without an employee being around, so we kind of go a little faster, and we kind of go at odd angles like that because there was an employee nearby, and they just don't like recording here, even though they took the no photo video signage off the door quite a few years ago. Anyway, we're in the jewelry department, and it's not really going to look too much different, but what does look a little more different is the shoe department. I don't know if you saw it further back on the left, but the shelves were kind of emptying out a little bit. And again, nothing really different there, but over to the right in the makeup aisles, the shelves have pretty much emptied out. There's some content here and there. They've moved most of the stuff more towards the center of the store, so there's some right there, but that's pretty much it, just some. So that's one of the few places where you will notice that the ultimate demise of this store is coming. This store is supposed to be closing sometime around early to mid-March. The Sears would be closed a month before this place. Now, this was actually shot before the Sears video, but the Sears video was declining so quickly that that video had to be put up first. So this is actually a reverse posting. This was the first store that I shot, and Sears was the second. This one's a little more difficult to do. And like I said, because of the employees, a lot of oddball camera angles, and this video will end abruptly because, well, employee issues. So here in the women's department, very difficult to do. There were quite a few women trying not to get them. And right about here, where the video is just about ready to end, is when one of the employees noticed what I was doing and was stopped. However, with some quick thinking, we continue along, and I don't know if she really was any the wiser, but I think she really was, and for the fact that I just manipulated the camera in a different way, didn't quite give the full gist that I was recording. And once again, employees everywhere, so had to cut the camera again and move a little more away from the central area. This segment and the small segment before is up on the second floor, where again, you're not going to see too much in the way of emptiness. They still got a ton of small appliances out. And over here, you start to see some of the, again, starting to see it empty out a little bit. It's not really going all that far quite yet. So sometime in early January, it was mentioned that this store will close, and just recently they started doing the going out of business sales. Now we've moved over to the men's department / young men's department. They're both pretty much right next to each other. And again, like I said, most of this doesn't really look all that different. Hasn't really thinned out all too much. I mean, every now and then you might see a spot that might have a little emptiness to it, like a couple of racks right there. Over in the younger kids department, all the empty fixtures that are for sale, this was very difficult to record as, tons of employees, and definitely wasn't very comfortable being around where there were kids. So this pace gets picked up quite a bit because I just didn't like being around here. So once we get near the escalators and towards the elevators, the video is just going to plain stop because that's where we're going to wind up meeting people that kind of caught up to what was going on here with me walking around with something that looks like a phone, which kind of does. So, yeah, it's not really all that much different than what it always looked like, except maybe a few bare spots here and there. And that's pretty much it. This is George F551 saying hope you enjoyed and have a good one, and don't expect too many videos from here.